It is, Tom, it's the Scituate Recreation registration tonight, started at 6 p.m., which is, as probably everyone knows, highly stressful. So I'm wondering if that's where others are coming from.
I've been there, and I'm glad
Yeah,
that I'm not there anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, I know we're
Sorry.
already recording, but like when we first moved here, like we were corralled by people in our neighborhood, and they were trying to impress upon us the importance of our kids getting into the sailing program. That is a big
Okay.
deal.
Oh, yes.
And then I came to find out that I didn't think it was such a big deal. But anyways, because my kids didn't really take to it, so whatever. All right, we got everybody, just about. All right, so we're gonna get started. Welcome. It is 6:34 p.m. And this is the Scituate Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee meeting on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. We continue to meet remotely due to Governor Healy on March 29th, 2023 signed into law a supplemental budget bill, which, among other things, extends the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. And I'm looking at the date, and we're going to have to monitor that. Anyway, specifically, this further extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location, and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. This meeting will be recorded by Scituate Community Television and can be viewed live on Scituate Community Television Facebook Live. The recorded meeting will be available the following day on Comcast Channel 9 and YouTube Scituate Community Television. I am going to read our commitment statement. This is a safe, secure space for all people, especially people of color, and for all underrepresented people and communities. This is a space where people can bring up challenges and questions without fear. We will assume best intentions. We will treat one another with politeness and respect at all times. This committee is dedicated to these standards. We want our members and others joining our meetings to feel welcomed and respected. Thank you. Okay, so with that, it is now 6:36 p.m. and I would like to open the meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, calling the roll. Reverend Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Dre.
Yes.
Ms. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Galata.
Yes.
All right, and I am a yes. All right. Okay, so with that, I guess a couple of announcements. First of all, I was on the hook to do the minutes and I did not do them. So I apologize. I will certainly get those out prior to our next meeting, and hopefully we'll have a few to review. Going alphabetically, I'm looking at the screen. Sorry, Carrie, you are next on the hook. So I have less of an excuse because now we get the AI role, and I didn't even look at that. The last 3 weeks have been busy. All right. So for those that haven't heard, Celia Risha is stepping away from the committee. She is switching jobs, and I believe she's going to be taking on a whole host of other responsibilities and so on. She's been with us, Natasha, Angela, myself, and Celia since the beginning. Right?
Yeah.
So, and she's obviously incredible. So I hope to see her around town. I don't run into too many of you very often. Angela I see from time to time. I saw Elena outside of a bar once, but we're just going to leave that there. So that's the deal. She will certainly be missed. So now we're down to 7, I think. So we'll have to think about um, posting if we want to post for another applicant to join the committee. So, which I think we should do.
Yeah, I feel like we might get just given the climate, there might be some folks that might want to get involved now, just given what's going on, and look
Yeah.
at the way to get involved, give back, whatever it might be. So it might be interesting to see who we might get.
Yeah. So on that topic, Bob, is that something where I need to contact the town clerk? What is I mean, I can go back through my archive.
Yeah, it's been a bit since we've had to do this. I think it's through the select board office. And I'm not sure how they make that notification, but I can do that. I can find out and then follow up with you, Tom, and find out what we need to do to initiate that.
That would be great if you could do that. Thank you.
Tom, there's also an email you probably haven't seen yet that was just sent out from the town on getting an update on the committee members and if there's any openings. I think the email just came out yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Shari from the select board's office. And I mean, that's before she just sort of confirmed that the committee was continuing and what the sort of who's the chair, things like that. But that was before I heard anything about Celia. So, but I'll follow up with her as well. I think we had talked about our web page, because I think that the list of members on the web page is outdated. So we should, particularly once we add a new member, we should look at revising that as well.
Yeah, and I was actually on the web page. I took a bit of a look at it last week or the week before, definitely after our last meeting, and I did add some things to it for our conversation. So when we get there, I'll show you what I've done. Again, whether I necessarily had permission to do, I didn't do anything crazy. But like adding things to our website, I know you're talking about the committee members and so forth, but adding links, adding documents, free form text, etc. There's quite a bit of capability to do that. So maybe I'll get our juices flowing. I'll share my screen in a bit here. So, all right. I think those were the main topics. Jamil, I apologize. I did not make it to your lit event. I actually traveled home to actually spend a couple days with my mom. So she trumped you. How was the event at the library?
It was good. Reverend Stewart came with a brigade.
Nice.
St. Luke's was deep. St. Luke's came like it was service. And a lot of other folks came. It was a great opportunity. I think we had a good evening. There's a lot of positive energy. A lot of great ideas were shared there that we're going to try to make happen. And it was just a good thing, I would say, the more we keep doing them, the outcome will continue to be something positive. So that's all I can say about that. I think it was a great thing. The next time is supposed to be, and this is 25, so probably 27 is the next time that we'll do it, kind of thing, to give folks an update. But out of that meeting, there were all kinds of inclusive initiatives being put forward and actually in action. So one is like, there's this day where all the students ride their bikes to school. And folks are like, well, what about our students in Boston? How are we going to do that from Boston? And now there's an initiative from John I don't remember John's last name, but he's a farmer, and he's about that farm life, and uses it to just empower people and to create equity and to bring community together. I just can't remember his name. Natasha, remember his name?
See the guy from Holly Hill?
Yeah, he's the Holly Hill. I can't remember his
Everybody knows
name,
that guy.
but
He's
John
he's
Holly
awesome.
Hill. I think
Yeah.
everyone knows him in town.
Feels that way. So he's
I'm never
doing
good
the
with
thing.
last names.
Yeah, he's been in contact with Marcavius, and I ain't already trying to move on that. We may have the idea to have a regular not newsletter though, but a thing called the Panth Lit, Lit, that Angela's granddaughter came up with is brilliant. I love that name. So I actually want to see that come to life. So I think that'll come into fruition. If not, one by the end of this academic year, I think we maybe kick it off next year. Just got to figure out what that's going to look like. Those are just a couple of the highlights from it, really. But it was good conversation, good time together. There weren't any intense firework moments, anything like that. But it was a well attended event, and it was just good to see folks. A lot of good energy there. Mm-hmm.
I'll say my people felt it was really good to have a meeting where like everything, to hear all the things that were going on through the school system and the other things you're doing in town. We talked about the Freedom Team, we talked about this group, right? Like, and even though most of my folks are fairly plugged in, they didn't have the full picture. So that really helped them see how much we're doing. So it was really informative, I think.
Excellent.
Thank you again. Again, they came in mass force. Reverend Stewart, whenever there's opportunity, I absolutely would love to just come back to a service just to say thank you, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you. We'll figure out a time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I thought it was a great meeting, Jamil, and I really enjoyed seeing people from different generations there. And the students there, they were, like you said, folks from the church, and everyone had such good intent and why they were there, and wanting to know what was going on in the community. So I thought it was very positive. I came home feeling very, very uplifted. So it was good.
I agree. And I got to say, if I'm mentioning brigades, the Dre family had 3 generations represented that night. As you all walked up, I was like, that is amazing and a beautiful sight. Like to see 3 generations of the family, of leadership, of community involvement and evolution. That was just fantastic to see that. So thanks again to your family always. Absolutely.
No, a pleasure.
Any other school-related updates, Jamil, you want to share?
I would say that tonight, regarding the Freedom Team, so the Freedom Team is part of 9 now in Massachusetts, and each team is supposed to have a youth member as a part of it. And so what we try to do now is activate what we call in the Freedom Team Youth Scholars. And Scituate, we have 2. So again, we have a fantastic member of the Dre family on it, and Alyssa is on it as well. So tonight, I'm guiding that group. And so tonight, that group met for the first time. And they just finished, they had a mission to accomplish by 6:45, and they sent it. And I want to share what they came up with. Their mission statement, what they were creating tonight, and they did it in like record time. Let's see. The Freedom Team Youth Scholars aims to foster collaboration among youth in Massachusetts to promote awareness of social equity and bias issues by investigating bias-based incidents in schools, as well as our generation and the use of social media to counteract them. So that is their mission, and that is just letting the youth go and do their thing. And we just got a vehicle for them to ride. So that's something we should be proud of, that I'm happy we can share that take place. That's just fresh tonight. Like even the rest of the Freedom Team don't even know that, but it just happened. Beyond that, I don't think I have anything more to share in terms of school updates. I mean, we're beginning to work well. The district leadership committee, the district lit committee is beginning to research equity tools, so that next year we can produce an equity tool for use by our school district. So we start being
What
embarked
does
on
that,
that
what does
plan.
that mean?
That means a tool that we can use across all areas of the district when it comes to equity, from any area you can think of. That this would be something that folks can look at and say, you know what? As we do this, are these things being considered? Think about these things in all areas. Um, Faculty, the academy, dining services, facilities, the bus drivers, everywhere, everybody. It'll be a standard that we can use as a reference point for all things in our district. Are we meeting these things as we put this together? Any event we're doing, any new initiatives that we're doing, and it'll complement the culturally responsive teaching rubric from DESE. So that'll be there as well. That help a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wouldn't have it lessens the probability of folks needing to say, hey, did we think of everybody when we did this? Did we remember folks in accessibility? Remember neurodivergent folks? Did we remember folks from here and there? So it lessens the probability of that occurring. Because folks will have this tool handy.
I do want to ask, because I have a high schooler, any truth to, I'll call it a rumor that a kid at Scituate High School tore down a bunch of Black History Month signs?
Oh, I haven't heard that yet. I haven't even been told that yet.
All right, you didn't hear that from me.
Okay.
But that's my understanding. So I don't know how far it's gone, but my daughter brought that up to me.
I'm glad that she did. I'm on it. I didn't know about that. No one has shared with me.
Couple weeks ago.
All right. I'm on it. Thank you. I did not hear that one yet. No one brought that to me. It could be a small group of people that know, but I'm glad that Bill was one of them and let us know. And let you know and let me know. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on it.
All right. Any questions for Jamil? All right. Bob, anything from the town?
Well, I guess the only thing I guess I really want to bring up is this is sort of old news, but I'm not sure that I've shared it with the committee yet, is that I know we had talked about before about our problems with recruiting and the impact civil service has on that. And we did put it before I know you guys knew that a couple of years ago, the police department pulled out of civil service. So we actually negotiated with the fire union to actually have them pull out of civil service as well. And that went before the town meeting. And so that moved ahead. So that was good news because we really felt like that prohibited our ability to really, kind of have some more open sort of recruitment and bring some potential diversity to the town. So that was good news. And I don't think that I had shared that yet.
Okay.
And beyond that, there's nothing that really comes to mind. Yeah, nothing else to report that I think from the town perspective.
I guess the only thing I haven't actually been following it that closely, but I know that the select board vote, right? The two vacancies, that's in May. Mm-hmm. And I did see that it looked like Nicole Brandolini, who's on the school board, she was going to run, and now she's not. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Nicole is great in any position, right? But I know she's definitely an ally for our work. So I'm just hoping that the people that are running for the select board, are of a certain. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Anything else that people want to jump into, and then if not, I know we spoke last time about getting some additional whether it's communication, we talked about putting stuff, on the town website. We kicked around Facebook as well. I think we didn't necessarily want to do that. So I mean, people jump in, but I'm gonna share my screen and just show you some of the capabilities that we have if we want to, start making our committee page more of a destination, if you will. Let me just make sure I have it up. Bear with me a second. You're probably looking at Amazon Prime right now, but let me get off of that. I can't get to my phone. Should have been more prepared. Sorry. All right. Can you see the town website now? All right. So just as a refresher, right? So our committee page, you go to government and you can see the boards and committees here, right? So go to our page. And again, forgive the fact that our committee members are more or less the originals. And I was able to, very quickly, I'm just sorting my various screens here. So over here under news and announcements, I forget who was reading it. I think it was, it might have been you, Elena, last meeting, or Carrie. The name change, which we did like 4 years ago, right? So I put the annual report here, comes up no problem, right? So this was the one that I had submitted a month ago or something like that. So we can do that. I also, just looking at some of the kind of functionality capabilities, what have you, I was able to provide a link over here, and this brings up our last meeting. So it's all out on YouTube. But so I can do that. The agendas get posted anyways. They're down here on the right. But you can see if I click on create content, all the different options that we have, right? And it really is. There's certain screens in here that are a little counterintuitive, but it doesn't take a developer to be able to post things up here. I'm not a developer. So news, announcements, links like I just showed you. I don't know how freely we can post other events outside the town, let's say, but there's a number of different capabilities that we have to post up here. Theoretically, I could, like, one of the things I was thinking, we haven't gone in front of the select board in a while, but the 3 or 4 or 5 times that we have done it, and we've presented different slide decks and so forth, I'm sure we could absolutely post those up here as well, just so that people can see our work. So if there's really, ever any ideas, to continue, building this out, I'm happy to do it. So if people have thoughts. Okay. But pretty straightforward, I think.
And sorry, we have free, like, we can post whatever.
I don't know.
I mean, not, I guess, within the realms of.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd have to have a forum to discuss it, and
yeah.
I don't want to run, afoul of the town. I don't think we're going to necessarily post anything terribly controversial. I mean, maybe we will. I don't know. I mean, this day and age, people view our work through different prisms, right? But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like I said, I think last meeting, ask forgiveness, not permission, but within reason, would be my thoughts. But I'd be happy to, entertain just about anything, and then again, we can discuss it. We can, run it by Bob. We can run it by Sherry. We can run it by, whomever. We'd be able to do something like that. So, all right.
Tom, I was looking at some DEI web pages from other towns to kind of see what they've done. And one sort of common use, I think, of this page has been the links. And so what I saw often I saw, links to information on ADA. We could, I don't know if we put a link to Stride, if we put links to different, food insecurity, sites. It could be a link to the Scituate Food Pantry, anything, just whatever we think may actually be applicable to kind of the audience. I was looking at our own social services web page, the one that Erica runs, and she's done a really good job creating a lot of links to different resources around town in the South Shore. So there's a lot we can pull from there. But that's I think what a lot of the other sort of municipalities, DEI committees have used this tool for. So it's another thought. It's something, and I don't know how we go about determining what that would be. I don't know if it's a small group of us get together to kind of just brainstorm. I don't know that this has to be the forum in which we do that, but I'm just saying, I think that's potentially another use of the page for.
I mean, that would be great. And just to show you how easy that is, it's literally, you click on link, you put a title, and you put the web page, and you hit save and close, and there it is. And honestly, it couldn't be any easier than that. Scituate Food Pantry, put the link, there it is. Right. So we could absolutely do that. Yeah, I'm totally open to that. If people want to send me, like, I know at least for the next 2 weeks, like I'll be on emails, but I'm going to be doing I've got like work travel and offsite meetings and all this crazy stuff. But if people want to send me ideas, just send them, and we can communicate over email. I mean, obviously, if others want to get together and spend a half hour face to face or on the phone or whatever, please do it. But I can get the links up there, no problem. I have time to kill on my commute, and as long as I have Wi-Fi, it's a perfect place for me to do this type of stuff. So I can do it on the boat as long as I'm in Boston that week. So yeah, it's a great idea. Natasha, you mentioned something about Pier 44 in an email.
Yes, I did. Can we stop sharing your screen?
Yes, I can do that.
Thanks. Yeah, so I was tasked last meeting with reaching out to the Historical Society about if they had a statement about our history or some sort of Indigenous people statement of some kind that we could use. And so I connected with Mary Porter, who is, I think she sort of runs the Historical Society, but she's very, very part-time. And I learned an incredible amount about our history that I had no idea about. So that was an amazing 20 minutes on the phone with her. I highly, highly encourage you. However, there is no such statement that exists as of now. And she felt that there are some good examples of Indigenous people, land acknowledgement kinds of things, particularly by our own Unitarian Universalist Church here in Scituate, has a really good one on their website. If you haven't seen it, it's excellent. And also Historic New England has one that she also thought was really great. So we could look to those for ideas or see if the Unitarians would let us use theirs. I don't know. Sorry, Unitarian Universalists. But she also brought up the fact that we may want to have something on a plaque or something like that about slavery as well, because Scituate, in its original form of being part of Norwell and Hanover and parts of Cohasset as well, right, was actually the biggest slave owning town in Plymouth County. So we have a lot of a history of slavery and some incredible stuff that is not, there's research about it, but nothing is like researched enough to condense it down into like, here's a statement. But she sort of felt like if we were going to acknowledge the Native people, that we should also acknowledge this history of slaves as well. So sort of as we talked, I felt like I think what she would like us to advise the select board to do is it would be great if the town could actually just hire somebody to research this, because it's like a full-time job of researching it. It's not something that volunteers are capable of doing. And then perhaps work up some sort of, I mean, a lot of history and a lot of documents and all of that for us to have and hold as a town, but also a statement that would work well for this, and perhaps some sort of educational experiences for the wider town once that work is done. So that was her hope. She gave me a lot of places we can look for information and stuff. I felt like I could have done a whole research project afterwards on it. I've looked at some of them and they are very interesting. Wayne Tucker is he's doing a project called 11 Names. And you can find that on the internet and click on different links around with some information that's very, very Scituate specific. Around
Wayne Turner?
Yeah, Tucker. Wayne Tucker. 11 Names Project. And yes, there's a lot of very specific slavery information when I looked on his website. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. They don't have anything specific. I think it depends on how much the Pier 44 people really want to put in, like this all has to fit on a plaque, like that will take some careful crafting. Do we want to include Indigenous people and slavery, which I think if we're having some sort of a statement like this, we probably should. So I think there's like work to be done, but there's nothing that exists. So I know, Carrie, you and I were going to kind of talk more about this. I don't know, like after I just got this information yesterday, so it took a while to connect with her. Yeah, I don't know if you want to just like chat offline and see what we can do, but it feels like way more than Carrie and I can undertake on our own. I'm just going to be honest. Without it being very like surfacey,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm happy to chat offline and figure out, because I mean, especially if it sounds like we wouldn't want to do something that wasn't well, like on the one hand, we wouldn't want to do something that wasn't well researched. On the other hand, we wouldn't want to not do anything because we couldn't do the research, right? Like, so we just need to figure out what the balance can be and what kind of resources we are able to devote to this and pull into it. So yeah, happy to like help offline and be more part of that conversation for sure.
I'd be very curious I'd be very curious what that would be like. I'm just gonna say going in front of the, and I have a lot of faith in our select board and our town's government and so forth, but going in front of the select board right now with a request to hire someone to research this and pay for it, just given the climate. Call me crazy. I mean, I'm just,
No, yeah, I agree.
I'm
Given
kind
how
of
committed it would be
saying the
interesting.
quiet part out loud, I think, aren't I?
Yeah, I have good faith in our people, but
But I do too.
yeah,
Sure.
it's there's a lot going on in the world right now. And so I mean, in my mind, it makes it more pressing that we should do this work and we should know our history so we can educate people more. But I'm aware the political climate is not exactly in the same place that I am in my head. So
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's just, every single day, and I just can't believe the headlines, right? And um, I think a lot of people are scared, you know, from
and I
various walks of
feel I
life.
feel like in my conversation with her, she felt like there was a lot of misinformation in Scituate around our own history.
I'm sure.
We love Chief Justice, right? And he like wrote the laws and whatever to help get rid of slavery, but he actually owned slaves. He was one of the biggest slave owners in town. So like we don't talk about that part of it. And even after he wrote the laws, he didn't really give up his slaves very easily. So yeah, I think for her there was just like we probably need to own the truth of who we are a bit more. Um so yeah. And she'd heard some rumor that the men of Kent were going to be statues, and she did not like that idea. And I had not heard that rumor, but
I actually don't know much about the men of Kent.
I
Jamila, you
don't,
have your hand up.
I just want to
Uh,
say one
Oh,
thing.
Angela, go ahead.
I agree that we have a great group of select board members, but I don't think it would be smart for us to ask for money for research like this. Ideally, this is something that I think you would ask for a grant, and I know that's where grant money is um, maybe not easily available, and depending on what you're using it for with these executive orders, who knows what's going to be there. But I do see the need for knowing our history, and I agree, Reverend Stewart, we don't know all of Situate's history. And I think it's not that different in history of the larger America. Situate's just,
Yeah.
It's just the American history in general. So we're not that different. There's, good people that did good things and did bad things at the same time. But I just think asking the select board for money for this particular research, I think we should be concentrating on other things that maybe we could get them to do that is, down our, path of our charge. That's my opinion.
Jamil.
And hearing everything, if I remember, the folks running the Tier 44 piece, they had some budget to do some things, and I think they may have budget to do that, and they can have it as part of their project altogether, and just let them move with that, and go and let it be a part of it, because they have mentioned wanting to have this history as part of it. You know what I mean? So if a vehicle is already in place, I say let's activate it and utilize that vehicle that's there, and say, hey, here's the conversation we had as the SDIC, and we think you can start there, and they're going to either say, you know what, we can, or they're going to say, I don't know, kind of thing. And see what happens, and then take it from that point of view. It could also be the type of thing where just people just kind of contribute to finding out the history and having someone do it. You know what I mean? It's just I've been having conversations letting people know that politics should not dictate how we move. And an example that I've been given to folks, meaning how we move as a people, is that we know that in education, within the last 2 weeks, there were 6,000 people that were laid off. And then beyond that, we know that there were tens of thousands laid off in the last month and a half, right? And then I started thinking, what about the people who had more going on in their lives that were laid off? Like before that, there probably were a number of people who a month before had their homes burned in California. And so now those people had their homes burned and then they got laid off. And so then I started thinking they probably got life happening as well beyond that, whatever is going on in their personal lives, beyond those important, traumatizing things, right? And so my point is politics didn't dictate where those fires was going to burn. Regardless of what conspiracy theory you put into place, politics didn't determine that. Politics didn't determine who was going to get laid off and who did not get laid off. And at the end of the day, these folks they find themselves in a similar tragedy, in a trauma, surviving the trauma of it all. And so I think at our core, we want to help each other. We want to be in the mix and doing some things. So I say that to say, as people, we can always mobilize ourselves to do something, do the right thing, to do good things. And so we can do it like we've done that when Reverend Stewart was like, "Hey, let's get some funds together for the stickers and the signs," which somebody John came to get those last two signs. So I actually have no more signs left. So I'm just saying we can do these things. We don't always have to subscribe to let's ask other folks to do things and stuff like that. Sometimes we can just we do the things ourselves by working with each other. And when we absolutely have to connect with the folks who are our leaders in political avenues, we can do that. I too, I think we got a good crew of people up in select board and all that kind of thing. So, but we don't always have to, because it makes the process. Sometimes that it lengthens the process and convolutes it a little bit. That's all. And you just get a group of people saying, we're going to do it. Great, done. We're going to do it. Anyway,
Okay.
I rambled on too long. Sorry about that.
No, not at all. Thank you. We need all the opinions, right? So going back to, Pier 44, Natasha, Carrie, Carrie, I know I've called you out a couple times because of your relationship with Paul, right? So would he be willing to meet with us so we can just brainstorm this thing?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Tom, you and I can connect offline and kind of think about the best way to move forward. But I think, yeah, it probably does make sense to reconnect with the committee. Because I like Jamil's idea of like, if they have funds for the park and they came to us and said, we want to, I actually don't exactly know what they came to us and said. My recollection is they said, we want the DEI's committee's review of our plans. And so we did, and then we kind of came up with the land acknowledgement, right? So, I mean, I think it's a good idea to go back to the committee and kind of reconvene. And if they have funds and if they have a plan for a land acknowledgement or similar, it's a great idea to see if they can kind of take on that research. Because I guess the one question I have is like, what exactly is our role in this? Is our role to say, okay, you want the DEI committee's opinion? Our opinion is you should have a land acknowledgement and acknowledgement of Scituate's slavery history, and then it's in their hands. Or like, how involved should we be? I think is where we probably need some clarity.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on that. So I think, whether it's a land acknowledgement or a, historical acknowledgement, whatever it, happens to be, I think that's something we can discuss. So my recollection, I'd have to go back and, look at the meeting notes or what have you, is that they were certainly open to our involvement, right? So we had them at a meeting. It was Paul and one of his colleagues that he's working on the project with, a woman, I forget her name right now, and they were great, right? So they were certainly, allies of everything we're doing. And I think, the way that we left it is, I think he was looking to us a bit to craft it, what the messaging would be, right? But it's been a while. since we spoke to him. So I don't think it would be a half an hour with Paul to just like kick this around. But yeah, I could talk to you offline, Carrie. But
I think
I think just
falling
getting in front of them, even if it's a quick half hour Zoom or what have you, get a couple of us and just brainstorm this thing. He just seemed like a creative, very reasonable guy. Natasha, were you going to say
Yeah,
something?
no, I was just gonna say, I think we have to keep falling back to what our actual title, right? We are an advisory board. We are not a creating or doing board. We are an advisory board. And I think, um, I know that all of us are doers as well, right? We all want to jump in and do things, but I think in this sort of a role, we have to have that conversation back with this committee and say, like, our advice is this, and here are some options on how we would propose you do that, right? We're advising you, and here's some ways, but it's not actually our job to do the work for you. We did some research, right? We talked to the Historical Society. We looked around to see if we had anything in town already. Like we did do some stuff. And so here's our advice after we've researched what we have available at this point. So to me, we just have to keep falling back on that. Like, we're an advisory board. We're not the people who actually do it. We just advise people to do things.
Well, I go back to and I have to remind myself of what the 3 R's are, right? So for those, probably Elena and Carrie, you probably weren't here at the time. Karen Canfield, who has been on the select board for a long time, and again, another fantastic ally. She attended one of our early meetings, probably in the first year, and she really hammered home review, report, recommend. Right. So, review town policies, procedures, budgets, purposes of advancing equity and justice for all, eradicating oppression, racism, injustice, and violence. Report to the select board, and then make recommendations based on the results of our work. Right. So recommending, I think we're already to the stage where we're trying to recommend something, right? To Pier 44 to have something when it opens up that acknowledges all the things that we've been talking about, right? And then if it becomes a staring contest with regards to who's going to do it, then like that's the last thing we want. Then we tackle, okay, does someone need to pay some money or find someone that has already done the research or will do the research that can put together, something that's frankly bulletproof to put on a plaque, or however they're going to design this park. Hopefully that makes sense. So I think we need another conversation to just clarify our role, their role. Are they still on board? What can we do to help within our charge? Does that make sense? Okay. So Carrie, if you want to just shoot me some dates and times, and I'll try to, and that you and I can talk, and then maybe figure out what the reach out to Paul looks like. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. I can do that.
All right. All right. What else do we got? We've still got some time left if anyone wants to jump in. And
So-
others, go ahead.
You want me to jump in?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So just so people are aware, there's a group in town that is going to be starting a Indivisible group, which I can't speak too much to, but it's like a non-political group that's just working towards social justice sorts of things. And so sort of part of that group, part of that conversation also has been to unite the different groups in town that are already doing DEI work of various sorts. So us, Stride, Pride, the Freedom Team, and then the various church organizations that are doing things as well. So to that end, they have decided we're having a dinner next Friday for the leaders of each of those groups. And they've been invited to just have just the leadership, have a conversation about what this would look like if we could do more together, and how that we could be a stronger voice within Scituate, and perhaps the South Shore, right, when we're united together in this work. So Jamil's going to be our guest speaker, and get us all fired up for doing this work. Yeah, so I'm just excited. I just think that people should just be aware that we're kind of there's this group. We're hosting it at my church, but it was actually brought to us by other people who were friends with some of the folks at my church, and so we kind of partnered up together. So I'm excited, and I hope that good things will come out of it. So there will be more. And if the first meeting goes well with leaders, then we'll open it up to all members coming, or whatever the next good steps are for that. So
What are some
stuff like that is obviously it's fantastic. And I think one of the things that I still there's still I think a small percentage of people in this town that know that we have this committee. And I think the more that people are aware of it, I think the more opportunity we're going to have to take on, additional projects to report back to the town to make our impact. So, I mean, half the battle with all this stuff is just communication and just making sure that people are aware of things, which oftentimes they're not unless we kind of ferret out and talk to people about it. So hopefully that'll be one of the byproducts of this group getting together and meeting on a semi-regular basis. So thanks for doing that.
Be the host. Who doesn't like a spaghetti dinner, right? Come on.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. All right. What else do we got? Anybody else?
Just a quick update, Tom. So I actually just emailed Shari regarding the question of how do we fill the void left by Celia, and she just emailed back, and so it was they had sent an email out on Monday. It was the one that Angela spoke of, and just looking for like an update on who's on the committee, and so she said once we could just complete that, once we send it back, let them know that we have a vacancy. What they'll do is they'll put an announcement out, and I think they'll probably do it. I'm not sure, but I assume that they do it through email and maybe like Facebook, and so they'll get volunteers that way. But I think that they're going to do it jointly with looking to fill all the vacancies in all the committees at the same time. So that's basically what.
Okay. Yeah, and they want because I received that too, right? So
Right.
Angela, you probably received it from the sister city, right? So I got it as well. And they want I know I have to respond. I think I've got 2 weeks, something like that.
Right.
And then the application form for reappointments, probably new appointments, is April 15th. So okay. Perfect. It's on my to-do list already, so all good. All right. Anything else that anybody wants to bring up? All right. I will move to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Natasha. Okay, calling the roll. Ms. Galata,
Yes.
Ms. Sun,
Yes.
Ms. Dre,
Yes.
Reverend Stewart,
Yes.
and I am a yes. It is 7:28 and the meeting is adjourned.